Some passenger rail services recently resumed in Gauteng, bringing much needed relief to public transport users. So how do we then expand this progress and get more trains running to grow the economy? eNCA's Pule Letshwiti Jones is following that story for us, joining us live now to give us, of course, the very latest. And Pule, good morning to you, colleague. I mean, one cannot deny the economic impact that these deteriorated railway networks have on our economy. But also, I mean, I can imagine, how they've affected commuters relying on rail.
Well, good morning, Tumelo. And yes, commuters have had now to look at alternative transport modes they can use, particularly when rushing to their various destinations, which include their workplaces in the morning. Some would use e-hailing services, others are turning to taxis, while others say they would save up just the little pennies they have to try and use the Gauteng, which is a bit much more convenient and faster. But of course, all of these grievances come on the back of that meeting that happened just a few days ago, where CEOs of South Africa's largest companies contributed to actually working with government to see how they can look to issues affecting the economy, such as the energy crisis and of course the logistic crisis, which would include how some of their logistics are not really traveling properly as they would using the metro rail services and Transnet services as well. And they've also formed a committee, which is, of course, would be the National Logistics Crisis Committee, which is sort of like a joint initiative between these companies and government to see how they can try and fix some of these railway systems as well. One must say the energy crisis included as well has been one factor. But when you look at the railway system, it's quite bad in a sense that the infrastructure has decayed, and in a sense that over the years, particularly just also during the COVID period, we saw how the infrastructure was vandalized as well. But commuters are saying that if PRASA could get its house in order and try to maintain some of the infrastructure and ensure that, number one, there's safety in some of these trains, they will, go back to using trains as well. Let's take a listen to what some of them had to say earlier on when we spoke to them.
The main thing is the safety issue around it, and even as a man, we're like, it should be safe for you, Yeah, other than that, I don't know if you can say infrastructure, because it gets full. So maybe if we can just add more carts or more trains, it should be simpler.
Taking the train because, as I said, it's not safe. Railways are no more maintained by the government. So what's happening, people are taking it to smoke drugs and all that. And another thing, infrastructure is not properly structured. You see, people are stealing infrastructure. So basically, our people are stealing infrastructure for our transportation modes. So it's not functioning properly, in my thinking. And poor people or homeless people are sleeping there and all of that. And you see, so people are scared that what if that homeless person is hungry, then they might steal your phone. You see, some of us have
Okay, they bring in new trains into this country. They bring them in. The president introduces them. They do everything like that. They say, here we are, we've got everything coming like that. Where's it working? Where's it working? Where's the metro rail working here? Huh? Here in Praza, for example, here in Park Station, Johannesburg, there's no water in this place. So when people come here from buses from all over South Africa, whatever, they can't use a bathroom. There's no water. There's no sanitation. Is this what their infrastructure is? But then they come and they say, no, we've got everything's working with metro rail. Where? Where's metro rail working? Where? In the Western Cape, where I'm from, there's no cable. So all those trains that the government introduced and said beautiful trains, they're not working.
Well, Pule, is there a commitment to try and fix the railway line?
Yeah, it seems as though there is a commitment, of course. Government has always committed themselves to saying they want to, fix this issue. They are aware about the kind of, crisis it's causing. And of course, how, like you've heard from the ordinary South Africans, how frustrated they are in a race to try and also ensure that while, the railway systems can get on board, this would contribute a lot in terms of trying to improve the economy and the country's GDP rate as well. But I want us to listen to what one of the officials had to say earlier on regarding the state of a railway system in South Africa and how they're pledging, their plans to try and fix the railway system in the country.
Quite a number of challenges in our rail network and infrastructure, particularly the incident that you're alluding to, where we've had washaways in our line. But that's not our biggest challenge as it stands now as Transnet, because that was resolved and the line was reopened for operations, and we currently are operating trains. Our biggest challenge remains the locomotives that we do not have available in service as a result of the impasse between ourselves and CRRC and cable theft incidents and vandalism that we see in our network. Those are the biggest volume eaters as it stands now, and as a result, we are severely impacted by those.
Pule, we'll leave it there, colleague, for now, but thank you so much for joining us as we delve into our focus today, railway infrastructure in the country. The question is what's being done, of course, to ensure that we see them being fixed up and ready to go and also contributing quite effectively to the economy.